What's up guys and girls, my name's Stuart, and the day we've all been waiting for so long is finally here. It's been 5 whole years since we got a new Rockstar game, and 8 since one of those games has involved grizzled old cowboys. But now Red Dead Redemption 2 has hit the shelves and everyone is absolutely coming in their pants for it. Is this truly God's gift to gaming, or is Arthur Morgan going to have to put a stop to this hype train? Let's find out. Before we get into it properly, I think it's prudent to note that my experience with Rockstar games has been somewhat hit and miss over the years. The first Red Dead was a game I absolutely adored when it came out. Bully is one of my all-time favourite games, and GTA San Andreas has a soft spot in my heart mainly for the pure nostalgia. However, I wasn't really a fan of GTA 5. I honestly wasn't particularly a fan of the characters or their struggles. Los Santos I found pretty damn dull. The heists were really cool, but that was about it for me. Mainly I guess I just didn't really enjoy the story. So, I guess the first question for Red Dead 2 is the story compelling? Downtrodden criminals on the run, going from petty crimes to large-scale heists in order to band together enough money for a better life. This isn't exactly new territory for Rockstar. However, what immediately sets Red Dead 2 apart from previous titles is a sense of belonging. Despite the variety of wacky characters you met on your journey, the first game was very much a lone wolf tale. And although GTA 5 had its 3 interchangeable protagonists, they always felt very separated. In Red Dead 2, you'll be playing solely as Arthur Morgan, there's no character switching here, but whatever you do in the game, you'll feel like you're doing it for more than just yourself. This ragtag group of outlaws is your family, and you'll work, rest, grow, and hang out with nearly all of them. Every member has their own personality and ideals, although with the amount of gravelly, whiskey, and cigar-ruined voices on display, it can be hard to tell who the hell is talking sometimes. And just like any dysfunctional family, there's going to be some you love and some you hate. In each chapter of the main tale, there are various branching storylines that play out with these different gang members. Whether you're planning heists with John, getting Micah out of whatever trouble he's managed to get himself into, exploring new avenues of acting with Hosea, or attempting to rekindle a dead flame with ex-lover Mary. And although these storylines will begin to take you further and further afield as you progress, I always found myself making the time to return to camp in between missions. The camp is your anchor, your home, and I never really thought twice about contributing my earnings to the group or going out hunting for their dinner, even though it's not a strict necessity to do so. This connection to the main cast lends an emotional weight to everything you do in the game, which I feel was kinda lacking from the previous Grand Theft Auto. However, even if you're not someone that's really bothered about spending time with your gangmates, the story still has a lot to offer. It's deep, personal, ambitious, and maturely thoughtful in a way that not many other open world games can match. It's definitely a slow burner, that much can't be denied. And if you're somebody looking for constant action-filled set pieces, then this may not entirely be for you. But if you're somebody, like myself, that's been dying for an incredible video game story ever since The Last of Us came out, and you have just a smidge of patience, then Red Dead Redemption will certainly deliver. Is its story compelling? Hell yes it is. So, the story of Red Dead is pretty brilliant. It's thought-provoking and will definitely stick with me for some time, but as I look back at the rest of my time with the game, I start to wonder, was it actually very fun? Huh. First off, there's not a person alive that can deny that what Rockstar created with this game is nothing short of a marvel. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen, and the amount of work going on underneath the engine is truly remarkable. Where it's become a cliche for game developers to say that they've created a living, breathing world, in Rockstar's case it's actually true. The world is truly alive, and at times it's almost eerily realistic. And this takes me to my first point. Is more realism necessarily better? There's so many things you have to take care of in this game, maintaining your weaponry, your horse, your meals, your hygiene. At first, this level of detail is really cool. We've never really seen anything like it. And it certainly gets you immersed in the world unlike any other game. I think it's awesome that people respond differently to you over small details, like if you're muddy for example. But after I've stopped by the hotel for a bath for the 3rd time in order to please the townfolk, this novelty starts to wear a little thin. On a similar note here, the problem with too much realism is that the line between fantasy and reality can start to get a little blurred, which in turn can suck the fun out of certain parts of the game. One moment in my playthrough, a man ran up to me asking for help. My horse accidentally barreled into him, which counted as assault, so, to get telling on me, I tied him up and threw him off a cliff, which he rolled down extremely realistically, screaming as he went until I heard his neck break at the bottom. I felt really bad. Back in the days of good old San Andreas, I could put on a jetpack, grab a minigun, and mow down an entire street of people and feel nothing. But this just felt so real, and in turn so wrong, that I left the situation feeling incredibly dirty. And in a game where the main focus is to rob, beat, and murder folk, this can become a slight issue. With little in the way of juvenile silliness or cartoony anarchy that is found in games like San Andreas or Bully, it's just not as fun killing people when it really feels like you're snuffing out a virtual life. Watching a man breathe his last realistic breaths as he leaves his realistic wife a widow, it's all just a bit too real. This level of realism extends to the rest of the game world as well. The wild plains of America back in 1899 were vast and, I imagine, pretty empty. And so is the world of Red Dead. The world is beautiful and the map is truly huge. So many open world games make that familiar statement. If you can see something in the distance, you can go to it. But here it actually feels like that's true. My question is, why would you want to? There's a number of side quests dotted around, a lot of which involve interesting characters and stories. There's collectibles like treasure maps, which are actually fun to figure out. And then of course there's mini games like poker, stabby finger time, or fishing, which even the main character admits is boring. However, although this makes it seem like there's a fair amount to do in the world, so much of it just feels kind of meaningless and it's so spread out that you can't really be asked. Though I partook a fair amount in these side elements at the beginning of the game, by the end I was mainly just going from mission to mission. Now since the main storyline will take you upwards of 70 hours to complete, this isn't really an issue, as you're still getting more than your money's worth. However, so much of this 70 hours is spent wandering from place to place through bare landscapes. It's realistic, but again not entirely fun. It's a world that's nice to look at as you go by, but not one you particularly want to dig all that deep into. In conclusion then, I have somewhat mixed feelings about this game. I love the story, I love the characters, I love the ambition. And considering the pure scale of this game, the amount of polish is absolutely astounding. There's a few familiar Rockstar problems and nitpicky issues floating about. Controlling the character on foot can be pretty unwieldy at times, and moving around in tight spaces is as hard as a priest at a choir board meeting. But overall I had very little issues. From a technical standpoint, it's refined almost to perfection. However, it's pretty safe to say that this game is not for everyone. I personally loved Arthur's Journey and the game is a real experience. However, it's not something I can see myself rushing back to for a second playthrough. No one can deny that Rockstar and their 100-hour work weeks have pulled off something truly astonishing with Red Dead Redemption 2. But when realism and detail become the main focus over simple fun, the line between simulation and game gets somewhat blurred. Anyhow, this has been Stuart. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a like and maybe check out some of these other ones too. And if you enjoy those as well, then you may as well subscribe. We have got some hilariously spooky gameplay coming out just in time for Halloween. Other than that, I make new content every week, so I hope to see you on the next video. Bye.